Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are discussing our September fantasy series title, and we are kicking off the first book in a trilogy written by Nora Roberts. If you would like to see this in video format without ad breaks, you need to head on over to Patreon and sign up. We also have a fun after show available on Patreon where we talk about the drama surrounding a reviewer and an author who wrote a horror novel about them. On Patreon, you'll also find other exclusive content, including past after shows, book chats, and more. Don't forget, you can also join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Club's app for even more book chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is featured co-host Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, it's been a while since you've been reading fantasy.
Yes, it's been a hot minute, but I'm back and I'm so excited.
Back and ready to roll. Okay, yes. Tell everybody where they can find you online.
You can find me on Facebook under Heartful of Ink, Instagram at Casey_Heartful of Ink, or on my website, heartfulofink.com.
All right, so before we begin, of course, spoiler alert. As always with book chats, we talk full spoilers, so you have been warned. We're going to start with the stats and the synopsis, and then we'll jump right on in. Today we are discussing The Awakening, Book 1 in the Dragonheart Legacy trilogy written by Nora Roberts. The audiobook is narrated by Barry Krennick. It was published November 24th, 2020 by St. Martin's Press and Macmillan Audio. The hardcover comes in at 435 pages, and the unabridged audio is 15 hours and 24 minutes. Casey, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Number 1 New York Times bestselling author Nora Roberts begins a new trilogy of adventure, romance, and magic in The Awakening. In the realm of the Talm, a teenage warrior named Keegan emerges from a lake holding a sword, representing both power and the terrifying responsibility to protect the Fae. In another realm, known as Philadelphia, a young woman has just discovered she possesses a treasure of her own. When Breen Kelly was a girl, her father would tell her stories of magical places. Now she's an anxious 20-something, mired in student debt and working a job she hates. But one day she stumbles upon a shocking discovery. Her mother has been hiding an investment account in her name. It has been funded by her long-lost father, and it's worth nearly $4 million. This newfound fortune would be life-changing for anyone, but little does Bryn know that when she uses some of the money to journey to Ireland, it will unlock mysteries she couldn't have imagined. Here, she will begin to understand why she kept seeing that silver-haired elusive man, why she imagined his voice in her head saying, "Come home, Bryn, and it's time for you to come home." Why she dreamed of dragons, and where her true destiny lies, through a portal in Galway that takes her to a land of fairies and mermaids, to a man named Keegan, and to the courage in her own heart that will guide her through a powerful, dangerous destiny.
Okay. All right. So, high level, as we do, very high level. What did you think when you initially finished the story?
No. No. I was annoyed. Yes.
Okay. So I was not surprised by the ending.
Oh, I wasn't.
I kind of called it. I said, oh, he's going to go and ask her to come, and the best friend's going to find out. That's exactly what I said, like halfway through the book. And that is exactly what happened. So at the end, I was like, okay, I'm curious to see how they're going to explain this. And that's kind of where I was. I was kind of in an information type state. I wasn't kind of like excited or happy or giddy or mad. I wasn't any real emotion about it. I was kind of like, okay, not the worst thing ever. Let's see what's next.
I was just annoyed.
Okay, let's start with that. Let's start with the annoyances. Why not? Let's start there, and then we'll go positive at the end. So you tell me, because I feel like I didn't dislike it as much as you did. So,
yes, which is, we do this sometimes, or you really like something and I just hate it. And I want to start by saying I do love Nora Roberts. She's a fantastic author. I just feel like this book should have been written and published like back in 2002, and it would have hit
Mm-hmm.
a lot differently for me, especially. But
Mm-hmm.
like, there were things where I was like, okay, this book was published in 2020. This does not need to be now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Sally was being misgendered through the whole thing. So Sally is a drag queen who kept being called he and him and a man.
I noticed that, but I thought maybe Sally wants to be he. That's what I
I mean,
thought, because I'm like, isn't that
it really does depend on the person and what pronouns they prefer. And some people prefer he, him pronouns no matter what they're in, and if they're in drag or not. Some people
yeah,
prefer to be she and her. And so, yeah,
yeah.
no, it's definitely a personal thing, but it just felt very jarring to keep hearing Sally, he, Sally, he, Sally, he.
Hmm.
So, like,
Okay.
minor thing, but that was annoying. Um, Marco was just, why, why, why?
Marco was kind of whiny a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, and I think that now I understand they've known each other for a really, really long time,
Yes.
and that's fair. Like, they connected over feeling alienated
Yes.
in life,
Mm-hmm.
and failures basically in life. Him for being black and gay,
Yep.
and her for being a loser according to her mother.
Yep.
And that's fine, but it seemed like Breen really just, especially at the end there, just expected him to just dance to her tune, do what she wants, and he had no autonomy. It felt like that felt weird to me,
Mm-hmm.
that how their friendship was. It felt really one-sided. Like, he was her cheerleader. He was just there to be her cheerleader, and
Yes.
I don't
So
know.
that kind of taps into a deeper problem I had with the entire book. But Bryn's personality, or Breen, um, she had all this anxiety and thought everybody hated her and thought the world was really hard. But literally every single character loved her more than themselves, basically. Like,
Mhm.
everybody she met just instantly loved her and would do anything for her. Everybody in the fairy realm would die for her. All of her friends were like, oh my God, I'm going to just do everything for you and love you, and you are the best person ever. And that,
Well, you know why that is, especially in the Fae world,
in the
though.
Fae
It's that
world,
trope. It's the one trope. You're the one
mm-hmm,
who has the perfect combination of things that never existed.
mm-hmm.
It's you. You're the savior.
You're
You
the
can save
savior, you're the
us.
special one, we're going to
So,
die for you.
right.
But even still, they're like, oh, let's be best friends. You know, let's just be best friends. We were friends when you were 3, so we're obviously going to be friends again now, because nobody changes by the time they're 3 and 26.
Like Marina,
Yeah.
was that her
Yeah.
name? Who has the hawk or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. She
She's
just
like,
thought
we
they were
were telling each other
yeah.
secrets and we were best friends. And Brent was like, well, I was 3. And I was like, what
And I
secrets
mean,
are
to
you
be
telling each other
honest,
at 3?
what three-year-olds can barely fucking
Right?
talk, okay? Let's keep it real. 3-year-olds can barely talk,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't understand a lot of concepts. And who remembers when they were 3? Nobody. I feel like when I really try hard, I remember some stuff from kindergarten. I remember kindergarten, but I don't remember 3.
I'm weird and I do have some memories from 3, but like, I don't remember my best friend. I don't remember whispering
My
secrets.
sister was born when I was 3, and I don't remember that shit. I don't remember it.
I was 4 when
So,
my sister was born, and I do remember that day, but like, 4.
yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it was just, what the fuck? Why does everybody love her so much? Why is everybody so obsessed with her and wanting to make her happy, except for her
Yeah.
mother?
It's weird. So it's like this weird counterbalance. Like her mother is ultra
Mhm.
negative, really rude and mean to her. And I guess Keegan was that way a little bit too, but he was doing it with the purpose to try to get her to kind of trigger something.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden he wasn't as mean to her after he got her power to kind of flare out at him.
Mhm.
But everyone else, you're right, is super nice, super welcoming, super friendly, accommodating.
We built this cottage for you. We made these rooms for you. We made these cookies for you cuz you love them, you know?
These were your favorite when you were 3. You loved this when you were 3, and this and that. And don't you remember? It'll come back. And her memories were like,
Shit. Sporadic.
yeah, they were sporadic. I don't know, but maybe it's also because she's a little bit of witch, a little bit of fae, a little bit, of all these different a little bit of a god, a little bit of this. Maybe that's why her memories, I don't
I don't
know.
know. It just she annoyed me so much because she kept acting like the world was this big evil place and she had this anxiety because everybody was evil, but everybody
See, I
loved
didn't get
her so much.
I didn't get that people hated her. I got that she has self-inflicted hate. Like, I'm trash. I'm not good at it. I fail. Why would anyone like me? Because of me. I'm not it. I didn't feel it was external. Everyone hates me. I didn't think it was that. I felt like she was saying, I'm no good. Why would you like me?
Yes. Yes, you're right. It was definitely more internal than external. But she
Yeah.
didn't want to be external at the same time. Like she kept talking about wanting to hide and fade and not be seen, not be noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I was kind of like, oh, she doesn't want to interact with people. She doesn't want to be around people.
Mm-hmm.
But then she meets all these strangers and everybody loves her. Like the entire time she was in Ireland with her best friend, she met a million different
Mm-hmm.
strangers at pubs and, just around the castle. And everyone's like, oh my God, I love you so much. You're so amazing. You're going to have free
Oh, you're
food. You're going to
such and
have,
such's kid.
yes.
Well, you're such and such's kid. Oh, you don't pay here.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. Bree didn't annoy me as much as she annoyed you, but I definitely didn't really like her that much.
Hmm.
I felt neutral about her, to be honest. I felt neutral about all the characters in this book. There was no one I especially liked or especially hated. None of the
Hmm.
relationships especially hit or especially were trash. I felt like really
Meh.
just kind of meh the whole time, which is not good. I mean,
No.
it's not good.
I
Um,
want books to evoke emotion in people, even if it's annoyance, even if it's anger. Meh just feels like it didn't hit for you.
so let me
Yeah, yeah,
tell
yeah.
you. So when I was reading the book or listening, I'm like 20 or 30% in, and I'm like, okay, so nothing's really happened yet. And I'm like, how much longer before something good actually happens? And what I was thinking about I feel like about the 40 to 43%
Mhm.
is when things start to shift a little bit and it starts becoming a little more interesting. But up until there, I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm on the verge of like a cozy fantasy.
Mm.
Like she goes, she discovers herself, she meets people, she has good food, she's taking photos. I felt like this could have been like some Lifetime or WeTV
Mhm.
movie where like nothing, where a bunch of nothing was happening for like half of this book, which is probably part of the reason why I didn't feel any kind of connection, good or bad, about Brie or
Mhm.
anyone else. It was like she was just floating through
She
life.
was.
Like,
She was just floating through getting everything she ever wanted, but again, with her anxiety, feeling like she's not worthy, not actually getting anything, like it's all going to be taken away. And yeah, no, it was very much a cozy fantasy with that vibe because nothing happened for so long. And even when stuff
yeah.
did start to happen, it fizzled. And there wasn't enough
Hmm.
tension. And even at the end, I'm like, I really don't care about the bad guy.
Like, where was the urgency?
Yeah, there's
That's what I
no
want.
real
Yes, there
urgency.
is no urgency. So yeah, at the end of the book, he's at the Capitol and he's hearing people complain about dogs and sheep dying and things, and he's thinking, "Oh, the darkness is
Mhm.
coming," but there's no main event. Like, what is it? Like it's so weird. It's just everything is low stakes.
Mhm.
Everything feels low stakes,
Even though
and
they're
that's
trying to
part of the
tell us that
problem.
it's high stakes.
Mhm.
They're trying to tell us, "Oh my god, all of this evil's happening, all of this bad stuff is happening, it's high stakes, we have to go now, now, now." And I'm just like, "Why?"
Why?
There
Yeah, like,
It
why?
doesn't matter. There was no real climax or resolution to much in this first book.
Mm,
And yes, it is a first book, but I want
but honestly,
something.
so even in the book, so she crosses over into the Fae world. Her grandmother on their first outing takes her to her father's grave
Mhm.
site. They're there and some random demon tries to yank her off the ground. And of course Keegan comes and saves her. But even that, at the aftermath of that was so flat. It was she's like yeah, that happened, but it didn't, like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
It
she's
wasn't
like,
the
"I'm just gonna
reaction I
walk on my ankle even though I hurt it, but I can't let them know I'm hurt."
thought.
And grandma's like, "You told me to run and hide." And she's like, "Yeah, of course I did. Whatever." And I'm just like, "Yeah, no, there was no
Yeah.
shock that, oh my god, there's freaking demons. Oh my god, something could fall out of
No,
the sky at any time and attack me." There was
which
no
is weird
fear of
because
that.
something like that should have sparked
Mhm.
something, should
Should have,
have
absolutely should
made
have.
us yeah. So I don't know how how that happens. Like, it felt like just another day. Yeah, you got yanked up by some little demon and he just happened to kill it and set it on fire in front of you. No big
No
deal.
biggie. Yeah.
Let's just continue. What's the next thing we should
Let's go
do?
bake some cookies. Let's go sit in front of the fire. Let's
Oh, let me meet your long-term boyfriend who happens to be a were who can turn into a
Yeah.
cat.
Well,
He's been following me
let's talk
around
about
for the last 6 months, but, I'm not shocked and I'm not mad about it. It's
It's fine.
fine.
It's totally fine. God. I think Cedric was actually my favorite character though, because he can turn into a cat and he had a little sarcasm in him.
He did, but I'm like, he looks at her when he's trying to tell her enough for
Mhm.
today. She's asking questions, he giving her
Mhm.
this look, and she's like, "Oh, I just shut up about the questions for
Yeah,
today."
which was good.
And that's, I think, where we like, you at least had some kind of emotion about it. I didn't have much emotion about anything, and I don't love it like that. But I feel like I want to hope that now that Marco knows what's
Mhm.
up, now that they're about to go on this different type of
Mhm.
adventure, that maybe the storytelling will change because I don't know. I
I
mean,
hope so, but honestly, I have no hope for it. He's just gonna be there and like love and support her and
whatever you
whatever
want
you
to do,
want to do,
girl.
girl.
Whatever.
Woohoo!
I got
I'll wave
your
your pom poms around.
back. Somebody needs to die. Somebody needs to die. Um, somebody
It's
needs to
probably
die,
gonna be
and it needs to
Marco,
be traumatic. It might be.
just because she loves him so much. Or it'll be Grandma,
Oh my god.
Nan.
Or grandma. I don't know, but supposedly she's got this enormous power that we have yet to see. You know how that's going to
Mhm.
go, right? She's going to unleash this great power and then she's going to defeat her
Mhm.
granddaddy. And that's going to be
Do you
that.
think Nora Roberts is gonna drag that out and make us wait until book 3 before the big fight?
Yes. If she's smart, she will. I mean, the guy's already infiltrating her dreams because she didn't know what she was
Mhm.
doing. Now, this I feel like should have had a bigger
Mhm.
consequence because she didn't know what the fuck she was doing. So she's basically spying on
Mhm.
him, and he does like she didn't know. like in her dream, she's spying on him. It was like something magical, and he saw
Yep.
her. And so he found a way to wiggle his way backwards, and now he's infiltrating her dreams. And there should have been a bigger deal
Oh,
about that.
absolutely. But just like with the demon attack, it was this little blip, and then everything was fine, and they slept, and then like 2 weeks later, everything's still fine.
We're gonna open a window.
Just open a window.
The window.
I'm gonna calm you down and let you sleep. Keep this window open. People will feel his magic with the window open, because that makes sense. It does not make sense at all. Oh my god.
The magic, also the structure of the magic, the structure of the world doesn't really make sense all the way in general.
No.
Yeah.
It does not make sense.
Whatever we need to do, like for example, there was another scene where she got bit by
the snake.
The snake that was supposed to have some kind of like sleeping beauty type potion thing. And and Keegan shows up and helps her kind of burn the poison out or whatever, and no one knew he could do that, and I guess he didn't know he could do that.
But
I don't know,
did it
something
anyway.
about it.
Like he's like, no, we're just gonna meld minds together, and then you're gonna be fine.
She's fine now,
and she was.
Yeah,
I didn't understand how that worked.
And I'm like, so wait, if he wasn't there, you mean to tell me that Breen would have just been like sleeping until the woman who put the curse on her just lifted it? She just would have been sleeping.
I still don't really understand how the fuck he knew she was in trouble. He was like, yes, I heard you singing, and then you stopped singing, so I found you. And I'm like,
yeah, it was some
that's
weird,
creepy.
because the witch who kind of lured her away, the author tried to explain that it was some kind of illusion around her. But everyone else, it was bright everywhere else.
Bright and
everyone
sunny,
else,
but Bryn just saw smoky, foggy, dark clouds everywhere, and somehow ended up walking almost all the way to a waterfall,
which was like another portal to another world. Which, speaking of worlds, so this is another part of the system that hasn't quite gelled yet. So they kind of have, as Bree says, like she tries to explain it to Marco using superhero logic, like not like a multiverse type thing, multiple worlds layered with entry to each world. So we learn that there's a prison world. There's the place where whoever her granddaddy is, they tried to keep him there. So that's one place. Their place, Earth as you see it, the real world, quote unquote, and there's probably more that we have yet to even I don't know. I mean, that could be.
I would like to see more of the other worlds. I'd like to see more of the different realms, but nothing was ever really given much explanation. And when they were talking about, we go to the capital, Bryn was like, what capital? I thought it was just this little farmland. I was like, yeah, same. I thought it was just this little farmland, because I kind of assumed it was kind of condensed, but I guess it's a big world like Earth is a big world. And
yeah, but that kind of got thrown in there too. Like when he came back from the capital.
Oh, God.
When he, and then the girlfriend in the capital, or the sex buddy, I'm like, okay, so that's one more layer. So he has like this girl that he hooks up with, and then toward the end of the book, all of a sudden we get like a different point of view, and she's like thinking she's gonna get him to marry her, and I'm like, what the fuck? So in the scene when he comes to her, it seems like it's a hookup. It seems hookup worthy. So like,
and we did see them hook up in the middle of the story for no reason whatsoever, other than like to further this plot line.
Well, this is what annoyed me. So Breen doesn't have like anybody. She's been broken up. She's not virginal, thank God, but she doesn't have anyone. And then Keegan, he's thinking about her, but to kind of distract himself, he flies all the way to the capital to hook up with this girl.
And then leave.
And then leaves. And then the girl suddenly's like, okay, it's time. I'm tired of waiting. He needs to be with me and mate me or whatever. And that whole little segment when he goes back to the
Mhm.
Capitol after Brain leaves and he has a hissy fit, he goes to the Capitol.
Yes.
And, she's saying what needs to happen. His mother is like saying comments about this woman. And like, I don't know who the hell his mother was talking to. I'm like, I started getting
There were way
confused
too many new
with
names, and I could not.
who was saying what and who. I was very confused at that part about who was making comments about this lack of betrothal or whatever. I'm like, I don't really know what's
I
happening.
could not follow that either. It
It
was, yeah. But honestly, I kind of felt bad for her, even though it was totally inconsistent. And when they hooked up in the middle of the book, she watched him leave and had the thought of like, one day he's going to fly away and never come back. And I was like, okay, this girl knows what's up. She knows she's being used and she's okay with it for right now. And then we get to her point of view and she's like, oh my God, he has to marry me. If he doesn't marry me, I'm just going to die. And I was like, oh girl, oh no.
you're
Oh
about to die.
no. Yeah, this is not going to end well for you at all.
Apparently she's had other
Mhm.
lovers, you know what I mean? She uses other people to try to make him jealous. It's this whole other story, which I'm guessing will come back around again
Book 2.
eventually. Because obviously we're not done with that, even though he tried to break it off with her, she's not done with
Mm-mm.
it.
And her best friend was doing the best friend thing. She's like, oh yeah, the new girl is just a redhead, but she's ugly. She's butt-ass ugly. She just has
She's
red
at
hair, but her face is
she's
not
got the red
pretty.
hair. That's all she got going for her, don't worry. And then she calls him out like, "Oh, this the girl, blah
Mhm.
blah blah." She calls him
And he's
out,
like,
and
no,
he's
it's
like,
not. No, it's not.
uh, "It's a
It's a
mess." Like,
hot
I mean, like,
mess.
that's where I think some of the story also has
Mhm.
problems because you know me, I hate a fucking
Mhm.
trilogy. I'm not trilogy. I hate a
Love triangle.
three-way love triangle. And so I'd rather him have his issues, her have their issues, and then they try to sort them
Yes.
out, but not this random chick thrown into it that really doesn't mean anything to anyone. So it's going to be a political thing, maybe. I don't know. That's going to come
Yeah,
back.
no, it's definitely gonna come back. It felt like it was thrown in after the fact because it was just so like bloop, we see her once in the middle of the story and then oh wow, it's at the end and now everybody's talking about it and everybody has an opinion and we're just gonna gossip and gossip and gossip about them.
I know. And the author, Nora Roberts, could have left that out
Mhm.
completely. And instead, because so at the part where, he goes into her apartment, blah, 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 he brings her back. They have this little conversation. And he says, I only took the sword because
Mhm.
in the water. She could have spent some time going between their point of views, his and
Mhm.
hers, and we could have gotten some insight into him and why he feels the need to protect her,
Mhm.
what the history is for him, because that would have made me care about that
Oh yes,
more.
for sure.
Because I totally forgot that happened at the beginning. I had to go back. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I had to go reread the prologue again just to be like, what the fuck is he talking about? What's going on?
There was so much opportunity lost to make the listener like care about them or want to root for them as a
Mhm.
couple because that whole like meant to be or
Yes.
whatever
Yes.
was there. The guts was
It
there, but she
was.
passed over it.
And they kind of interacted as children a little bit. And he was even like, yeah, no, you were a little toddler who wanted butterflies and I didn't care about you. But then he made this aside thought of like, but then there was another time. And I was like, oh, damn,
Mhm.
there's going to be something here. And I think it was just after she was taken and the battle and his mother found out that her husband died and little Breen just like went and stroked her arm and made her happy again. I was like, is this it? Seriously? Seriously?
Okay. Okay. Let's take a break. Let's take a quick break, y'all. you gotta check out the commercials. By listening to the ad break, listening to these commercials, you are supporting the podcast. And while you're at it, hop on over to Amazon and pick up your copy of the book review journal, available right now. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Okay, welcome back. We've got more. Do we have more?
I have
more
a long-ass list.
Hit me up with the next thing on your list.
So this is absolutely 100% personal. You know how doctors and nurses and anybody in the medical field cannot watch Grey's Anatomy or any medical TV show because they get everything wrong and it drives them bonkers?
Mm-hmm.
As an editor who looks in the book publishing world,
yep.
Oh my fucking God.
I was like, did we really need to throw the publishing business into this on top of everything else?
It was the thing that was supposed to hold her back in the human world, but it's such bullshit. Oh my God. You cannot write a book in a month and it be okay. It's not possible.
Even a children's book?
No. Even if you're a teacher. So I work with first-time authors, and I work with mostly high school teachers, but no, you cannot write a book in a month and it be good because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, because you've never written a book before, because you are so stuck in your own brain and you put the words on the page and it makes sense to you. But then somebody else is going to come along and be like, this doesn't make sense. Let me help you make it make sense. And if your grandma reads it and says, oh my God, it's perfect, she's probably lying to you because it's not perfect.
And then your best friend reads it and says, oh, it's so great.
God, it's so great. Lies. It's all fucking lies. And then if you start querying agents, the first person you query is not going to respond to you. If you send out 100 queries to agents, you might hear back from 40 of them. And even that, half of them might ask you for more or less. Like, no. And then you're not going to get a response in like a week. You're not going to sell it to a publisher in a week. You're not going to get your advance payment a month out. It's usually 6 months or a year.
Yeah, that was literally a month out because she'd been home for a month and then she had those meetings in New York and then it was time to go home.
You are more likely to meet a dragon than for any of that to happen.
Which is interesting because this author is an experienced writer. She's had lots of interaction with the publishing industry. So I wonder why she would write it like that.
No, this was definitely her fantasy. Maybe it's magical. Maybe Brain is making magic and we're just, I don't fucking know. None of it makes sense. And I kept screaming at the book because I was like...
After she met, I kept waiting for like the publisher or her editor to be like somebody bad or something. And it didn't work. I was waiting for another twist. But in the meantime, it's like, oh, I just got all this money and now I'm a published author and I got more money and now I have a finance guy, an accountant, and a manager and all the things. And now I need a social media person. And you, Marco, you're going to be that person. Thank you.
Yeah, no, none of that.
What?
None of that. It takes months to get responses from publishers, if, not years. I know people who have been out on the submission for 2 years and they still haven't heard back from publishing houses.
Yeah.
Like, you can make it happen fast, but this was insanely unrealistically.
It just goes and just gets, okay, so from the businessy side of non-author, just life, who in the fuck is going to go get an accountant off the recommendation of a finance guy? People steal your damn money.
Right?
Like, you have to do you don't just snap your fingers and you have a finance guy and accountant. That's not and an accountant. That's not how it
And I
works.
wouldn't trust this guy at all because he lied to you for your entire fucking life and kept your money away from you and just believed your mother when your mother said that, oh, she doesn't like money. She's
And look,
irresponsible.
when she's 18, there are laws.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he felt that her mother was telling the truth, why didn't she sign something?
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't she a custodian of her money? There
Yeah.
should have been something
She should have gotten a letter at the
formal.
very least.
Yeah.
Or any, like, hey, let's sit down and meet now that you're 18. What do you want to do with your money? But no, none of that.
No.
And she just
And
like,
just
oh
because
yeah,
the
I
mother
trust you
said,
and I'm gonna
no.
keep using you. And no, bitch, no.
There were a lot of things that, like I said, lifetimey,
Mm-hmm.
like just
Yeah, no, I'm used
look
to
at
this from
yeah.
TV shows and movies because they don't understand the publishing world and they need it to move fast. But coming
Mhm.
from Nora freaking Roberts, this kind of felt like a slap in the face to me because no,
Like, she knows how this works. She
she knows how
understands
this
the
works.
business. She's been doing
Yes.
this for decades. Like, why would she make someone think, even in an imaginary world, why would you want any people who are wanting to be authors that read this book think that this crazy, fantastical situation
And they
could be real?
believe it. Oh, they
Yeah.
believe it. Sometimes I get inquiries from people who are like, I just wrote my first book. My mother said it was fantastic. Can you do a copy edit and just clean up the grammar so I can send this on to an agent and get a publisher? And I'm like, there's a plot hole on page 1.
Womp
Like,
womp.
no, you need to study the craft. And again, being a teacher doesn't mean you know anything. Being an English major doesn't mean you know anything.
People are looking for that one in a million chance.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, here, like, you remember Veronica Roth. You
Mm-hmm.
remember her.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote her first book in a semester in college, supposedly. There
That's
are
more than a month.
right, but there are a couple of authors that have done something in that wheelhouse, right? But that's
Yes.
also far and in between. That's not the norm. Even
Mm-mm.
then, that's not the norm.
No.
That's the exception.
So this book kept making references to Harry Potter, so I'll talk about that. J.K. Rowling got dozens and dozens of rejections from agents before she finally found one. Then they got rejected by like every publisher in the UK before they started querying in America, and they got rejected there a lot before they finally got it published. And then Harry Potter became like the biggest magical middle school book series in the world.
Yeah.
But she got rejected a hell of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that you're bad if you're rejected. It's just that
That's how it is.
life. That's how publishing works.
Yeah.
You're going to get 100 rejections for every yes you get.
Mhm.
Whereas in this book, she just got yeses at every turn at the speed of fucking light.
I know, it was so easy for her. So easy.
Everything was so fucking easy for her in this book.
Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, everything, literally.
Everything.
From learning how to make spells to executing spells. I mean, even riding a horse or even learning how to fight. Like, yeah, she got some bruises, but hey, there's a magic potion. I could just fix it.
Yeah.
Back at it the next day. Like, there was nothing.
There's no
she couldn't
struggle.
do.
There was no, yeah. And I kept thinking about Fourth Wing because we just read that and how our character there, she struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things were easy for her. Yeah, she was the main character and people loved her.
Mm-hmm.
But, when she was riding a dragon, she constantly fell off. And that was like, she failed a lot.
Yes, she did.
And Breen in this book never really failed at anything.
Yeah. Yeah, Fourth Wing, she even had to like find a way to like lessen her competition so she didn't die, right?
Yeah, no, she started drugging people.
Started poisoning people just enough so that I cannot die. But this character, she didn't even have to like think her way out of a paper bag. It was so easy.
Everybody handed her everything she needed.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she kept having all this anxiety and like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
what if I have to send this query, but what if she says no? Oh
Mm-hmm.
no. Now she
Mm-hmm.
said yes, but what if she says no again? Or what if she takes it away from me? Like it was just, it felt ridiculous that she had so much anxiety when everything was being handed to her. And I don't
Yeah.
want to diminish her mother, because a mother can fuck you up real bad. Like a
Mm-hmm.
mother telling you you're not worth anything is
For your
awful.
whole life,
Yeah.
essentially.
And that will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But I wanted more struggle just in the day-to-day life. You
Yeah.
know, struggle in Ireland on your trip, struggle learning magic, fail at something, get
Driving
a
came
goddamn
easy.
rejection somewhere.
Even driving on the wrong side of the street became easy
Yeah,
for
it
her.
was
She's
so
like,
easy
oh,
for
it's so
her.
natural.
Yeah,
Everything's just great. I'm supposed to be here. I can just learn how to grow plants and learn this and learn that and
yeah.
just write 2 books at the same time. And
And write a blog and have 50 plus comments on every single blog
look,
every single day.
day one, you have like 16 comments. Get the fuck out of
It was over 40, and then she kept getting more comments on it, and I
every
was like, get
day.
the fuck out.
She's a blogger instantly.
Hmm. In the year
Yeah.
2020, blogs do not get that much attraction.
No, they don't. Honestly, that also kind of shows the author's age. The fact that she used a blog to be.
There are several things where I would, they would just say something, and I'm like, that was so 2005.
Yeah. She shows she's a little bit out of the loop. I mean,
Hmm.
not to like, again, me and Classy have complained about everyone being a podcaster in these mystery books. But honestly, if she had made her a fucking podcaster, that would have made more sense than
Hmm.
a blogger.
But no, she has to write because writing is amazing, and she's never written before, but she's going to write
Yeah.
one blog post and then 2 books and sell all the books and just be amazing and incredible because everything in life is perfect for her.
Yeah.
But she has anxiety, so it's not perfect.
Yeah. So, assuming that everything will just work out for her going forward, right?
Hmm.
I guess we just have to assume that there's not going to
Yeah.
be, unless the author makes an about face, I don't think there's going to be any big losses, any big hurdles that can't, I don't think there's going to be a lot of high stakes for anything.
No, I really don't think so. If it was anybody else, I'd be like, Marco's gonna die just to like push her over the edge. But she's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna kill Marco. She doesn't
Yeah.
do, I don't think she'll do anything that big and dramatic.
Now, to be okay, so I feel like I kind of got a little bit of trickery by the author because, like I said in the podcast where we kind of talked about this book before when we were first introduced to it and we did our sampling of it,
Hmm.
I read this other trilogy by her that was post-apocalyptic fantasy, kind of the same theme though.
Hmm.
There's one to save the world, but it was a lot more fear and things are fucked up and the world is fucked up. Like it was a completely different, like night and day, as far as like how the main character had a lot of hardships, people died.
Oh,
It was
damn.
so
Hmm.
different than this. That is, again, I'm gonna keep saying lifetimey because that's
Yeah.
what it is. So like that was so dense and like, OMG, what's gonna happen next? Who is she gonna meet? How are they gonna figure this out? There were questions, and this is really like someone just reading me a story. Just tell me a
Hmm.
story.
And it's
Um,
not even a story. It's just kind of like, here's a list of all the happy things that are going on. Here she's going on vacation, first class plane tickets. Here she's staying at a castle. Here she found a cottage that's just perfect for her. Here she is, with a puppy now. And it's just like, okay.
it's
It.
I felt a little deceived because I thought this is the type of writing I was expecting,
Hmm.
and this is not.
I mean, I was hoping for that too. And then the story just did not deliver that at all.
It didn't. It felt like even in the beginning, even the beginning when, Keegan is picking up the sword, it felt like there might be something really dangerous happening, or there could be
Mhm.
something really traumatic, and I thought
Mhm.
maybe we go back to him before. I think the author missed the boat when she did not do dual,
Point of views.
narratives. She
Mhm.
should have done dual narratives, because that way we could have
Learned a
learned
lot
more,
more.
and we could have been invested in, like, maybe had some bad things happen on his side. We
Mhm.
could have been more invested with why this world needs her so bad, and
Yep.
we didn't get that. That was
Nope.
like a major component that was missing.
Mhm. We kind of saw it in that one nightmare that was, when her grandfather was manipulating her dreams. But even still, like we mentioned earlier, they just kind of, oh yeah, whatever, it's okay. You're fine now. Just go back to sleep.
Yeah. And there was one scene with the grandfather where she got to see what happened on the day she was kidnapped and
Mhm.
rescued through her grandmother's eyes. And she sees hers, and it was like reciprocal. They could see each other's point of view on that event. And
Mhm.
so we have Breen's point of view, where she is literally fine
Mhm.
until she starts like calling for her parents and crying, and the grandfather's like, well, if you're good, you can have candy, you can do this, you can have all of this, but when you're bad, you get slaps and something else. And she's screaming, I don't like you. He slaps her, and why did I laugh? I'm like, oops. That was not, I know that was not the moment that the author was going for, but I'm like, why did that seem funny to me? And that's always
Because
bad
it's
with
ridiculously over the top. Here's the most evil man in the world ever arguing with a 3-year-old toddler.
yes.
Like, I'm gonna slap you if you're not good. Like,
And then he
bitch.
does it. And then she's like so pissed that she like explodes some glass. I'm like, some fairy glass. I'm like,
Mhm.
what the? It was funny
It
to me. I'm
was
like,
funny
oh,
just because it's so absurd. And, like, anybody who's been around a toddler, yes, you kind of want to snap at them, but you
mm-hmm.
don't do it after, like, 0.2 seconds without them
Right.
screaming for an hour first.
Yeah. Like, come on. But
But
and then of course everyone just comes in, swoops her up, they all run away, they have this
mhm,
showdown, and she's ferried to safety.
mhm. A lot of people die, but oh well, who
It's
cares?
fine.
It's fine.
I
Gotta
don't
save
I
the
don't know.
3-year-old baby.
I tell you, it's like I laugh because it's like, how else are you gonna, I don't know, respond to it? I just think whatever the author was trying to achieve, she missed the boat for me. It did not
Yes.
hit for me. Now, um, the ratings, which was part of the reason why I said let's push forward with this one, because
Mhm.
with a hair over 51,000 ratings on Goodreads, and 4,800 reviews, the average is 4.22 out of 5. That's a really high rating.
So, my thought on that is that this came out in 2020. And everybody was going through the roughest year we've ever collectively lived through. And they
Hmm.
just wanted something happy and peaceful, and nothing bad ever happened. And that's
Well,
exactly what
that
this
fit the
was.
bill. Hmm.
I think
It
if
was
I
the
had read
opposite.
this in 2020, or like I said, if I read this in 2002, like 20 years ago, I would have loved it. It would have been like, oh my God, everything's so happy and perfect, and I want this life. And like,
Oh,
you know, but I'm kind of a jaded, angry adult who knows the publishing world doesn't work like that.
I'm not sure I would have loved this in 2020 either. So, like, again, I'm going to compare it to the book we just talked about a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
What grabbed me about Fourth Wing, if you remember, you guys, if you haven't listened to that episode, please go back and listen. That first scene where we are introduced to these majestic dragons,
Mhm.
they are. majestic and scary, and like it's just wow. Okay, and that's what I wanted. I'm like, okay, this is about dragons, there's a dragon. And we see the dragon, and I'm like, there's a dragon. But like I don't feel any awe about the dragon. I know Breen felt surprised about the dragon, and she even rode the dragon for a minute, but we didn't get any of the descriptives, any of the feeling about seeing riding a fucking dragon.
There was one moment where she watched it like flying overhead. She's like, oh my God, this is the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. And that was it. And it was just the tiniest little blip of a moment. But yeah, no, there was no.
Rebecca
Oh my
Yarros
God.
nailed it. Like she talks about the fear that you bring getting close to dragons like that breathe and they move and how they look at you and how they, I mean, all the things, all the senses dealing with the dragon. And Nora Roberts kind of fell really flat with it. I'm like, okay, well, there's a black dragon or a dragon. I don't even know what color it was. I know his horse was black. What color was the dragon?
I thought it was red.
Red?
There was a red dragon at some point, and I think a green dragon. I don't know what color his dragon was, but yeah, his horse was black.
I mean, even when we got the war scene and the grandmother had a dragon, right? They all kind of were a dragon.
Where the hell is her dragon now?
Where's the dragon? Explain to me how you get to be dragon riders. Like there is so much that is like we got the parts that aren't even important to the story to me. I feel like I would care more about that part than I care about your stupid bedtime friend in the Capitol, or about writing this silly ass children's book about the dog that you inherited.
And honestly,
the focus was wrong.
Yes, the focus was wrong because, you know, she spent so much time in Ireland playing tourist. That was a good 30% of the book that was just redundant and annoying and overdone. And then, you know, even living in Magic World, she's like, well, I'm just going to walk back to Earth and live in my cottage on Earth because I like that more. And I don't want to be part of the Magic World. And then at the end, she's like crying because she has to go back to Earth and leave Magic World. And I'm like, but you've been leaving it every single day. I don't understand why you feel the need to go all the way back to Philadelphia. You can sit in Ireland in a coffee shop with your Wi-Fi and do everything you need to do.
She didn't have to go back.
She didn't.
See, the thing is, she wanted to go back to tell people she wasn't coming back, but she didn't have to do that.
Absolutely not. She didn't.
She could have got on a FaceTime and be like, hey, y'all. Love y'all, not coming back for a while. I don't know when, but not for a while. Yeah. She didn't have to go back there.
No.
And why a month? And like, why hide from your best friend? It's supposed to be your best friend since childhood. He's like, oh, I already knew you weren't coming back here. And it was like all of this, you know, time and energy spent on worrying about telling people that she wanted to stay in Ireland was like wasted. Everybody was like, okay, deuces.
Yeah. They're like, we knew you weren't coming back. You were so much better there. Why'd you come back at all? It's like, but I had to take care of stuff. I'm like, what stuff did you actually take care of?
She had to meet her editor who could have got on a plane if they really wanted to. Yeah, they could FaceTime. They could have Zoom meetings or Teams meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
In 2020.
In the year 2020.
Have to do that.
You even have telephones. You could have done it over the phone. Like, you did not have to fly all the way here and then go to New York. And like, no. Nope.
It's weird. And then the scene when, you know, Keegan goes to bring her back and she's like having this cow. I need to pack my stuff. I need to bring, you know, she's just throwing shit in the bag. She's just like having like some kind of mini breakdown about it. And then all of a sudden, after all of his hard assness about it, suddenly he's like, oh my God, she's really upset. Okay, forget it. Don't come.
Forget everything. I'm fine. So sorry. I've ruined 2 women in the past week. I can't deal with tears.
It's fine. It's my problem. I'll take care of it. I'm like, what?
It was so weird. It did not fit with anything at all. I don't understand it.
And the most fucked up part about it is that, like, we're talking about the two of them, and neither one of us have said anything about them as a couple. Do we like them? Are they cute? Are they going to be together? Was the sex scene good? We have not even mentioned it because it felt like it didn't even matter.
It didn't. They didn't really have any sort of chemistry or romance until like the 80% mark.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just so rushed. And they're like, oh, yeah, everybody knows that you've spent time in her bed.
Like, how does everyone know that? But okay, that's a whole nother question. I don't really care
I
to
guess
know.
little
I don't want to know.
pixies with the window open can hear everything and
And they go
gossip.
back and tell everything. They go back and gossip. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just weird. But if I had to say a highlight,
yes, please.
I do think the audiobook narrator was great. I listened at pretty fast though. I listened at like 1.7.
Oh,
I was
wow.
listening pretty quickly. Because on normal, as most narrators do, they sound like they're talking like this.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
No, I started listening to the audiobook too because I was like, I'm not going to pronounce any of these names right. And I'm pretty sure I get them all wrong anyway. But I listened at 1.35 and I was like, I know this is slow, but I'm trying to like understand and make sure I'm getting all of the names right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, she did a great job.
Yeah. And I think she added, because I did get through it fairly quickly. I think I read it in about 4 days, and that was like inconsistently listening. So, and I finished it last night because I also wanted to try to finish as close to the recording time as possible. So I kind of made it stretch.
Yes.
into. So, I mean, I think the audiobook was good. And if you're going to read it, I recommend the audiobook. I don't know how this would be just reading it. I don't know.
It'd be really boring. It'd be really hard to get through.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. You have anything else on your checklist of
I mean, yes, but
disdain?
I'm not going to start.
Okay. Maybe we can cover a couple more in the after show. We'll include a couple more points in the after show that, yeah, if you want to know what else we hate or Casey hates. 'Cause, I mean, like I said, I have no feelings. I have no feelings. It's not horrible. It's not good.
That's good, I guess. Neutrality.
I'm very neutral about it. Very unusual. Okay, well, let's rate the thing. Should we go ahead and rate it?
Let's rate it.
Okay, you first.
I'm very generously going to give it 2 stars.
Okay.
It was well written. It is Nora Roberts, but everything annoyed me. So
okay. Fair. And I'm going to go with my math rating, which we all know is 3 out of 5. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. Meh. It's fine. It was fine, quote unquote. That's not bad or good. It just is. With that said, at the end of the first book, I was curious about what happened next. So, unlike another series we all out quit, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like, oh, no, I can't continue this. So
that's good. That's really good.
Because I'm like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. So that's good. Anyway, so we'll be back here next month. Actually, let me even see what the second book is. That's a mess. I don't even know. The second book in the Dragonheart Legacy series, which we better see some more freaking dragons since it's called Dragonheart Legacy series.
There was a dragon on her dagger that she magically made really, really fast.
Yeah. Which was something people don't do for like years of studying.
Years, but she did it in a hot minute.
Yes, and it added something extra without her. Like, okay. So, book 2 is The Becoming. So, I'm assuming that now that she's awakening, she is going to become the one, quote unquote. She's going to be finding her power and using her power. So, that's what I guess the next one is going to be about.
And the final one is called The Choice.
The Choice. So I don't wonder what the choice is. I don't want to look ahead, but
it's gonna be, does she stay in fairyland or does she go back to Earth?
Oh, we all know what that's gonna be. I mean, it would shock me if she went back to Earth, to be honest, because by then she's gonna be all head over heels for Keegan by then. And if
she already is, and I don't understand why. Like, was it supposed to be enemies to lovers, but it just had no enemy spark. He was just kind of a dick to her to make her fight
Yeah,
more.
he was rude. Actually, it was one scene that I did think was kind of funny. I kept saying, like, why are you such an asshole to her? Like, why are you so mean? And then his sister, like, they're talking, and then he comes in, and she's like, stop being an asshole, basically. Like, get your rude
Yes.
ass out of here, she says to him. I'm like, exactly, get your rude ass out. That was about the only comedy.
Yeah. And I agree with his sister. He was an asshole for no reason.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? But okay, so I guess we're in for more of him being an asshole, I'm sure. I'm sure he's not going to flip
definitely.
overnight. So
No.
we've got that. And we've got poor Marco going to be completely dazed and confused for several days, probably.
Yeah. The only Black gay man in fairy world.
Honestly, I was shocked he's just going around chit-chatting everybody up, having a good old time, going into town by himself. I'm like, you're probably the only Black man within like several kilometers. So,
but he's happy, so
I guess.
It'll be fun reading book 2.
I know. I mean, I really hope next time we can come in with something that we liked. I don't think we ever got to things we liked. Oh, the narrator.
She was good. I like her.
The Lord help me. Okay, you guys, if you have read The Awakening and you either agree or disagree, let us know. Actually, on Spotify, there's a section for you to leave your own comments about this episode. Right in the Spotify app. You don't even have to send an email. You can comment below in Spotify. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know what you thought of the book. I'll even have a poll for the rating because I want to know what y'all rated it.
And then join us for book club.
Yes. So you have enough time to join us in October.
Yes.
And still share what you thought about book 1. Because, we always come back to it. We're going to be like in book 1 and then in book 2, because you know how you do.
Yeah, of course. It's all connected. You have to talk about all of them at the same time.
Absolutely. So definitely don't forget to subscribe, like it, share it with your other fantasy-loving friends. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction Podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.